The revelation about humans, monsters wearing gentle masks, had changed the galaxy forever. For many species, it was hard to know how to feel. The humans had shown kindness beyond expectation, but they had also revealed a fierce power that no one could ignore. The Galactic Council met once more, but this time with a different mood. There was no longer fear, but respect mixed with caution. Council member Lyra spoke first. "We have learned much about humanity. They are unlike any species we have met. We must accept them as they are, both gentle and strong." Others nodded. Some still felt wary, but most agreed that humans had earned their place among the stars. Captain Mira stood before the council, calm and confident. "We do not ask for blind trust. We only ask for understanding. Our strength is not a threat, it is a promise to protect." Humans and other species began working more closely. Joint missions explored uncharted space. Trade grew between worlds. Shared knowledge sparked new inventions and discoveries. But alongside friendship, a new caution remained. The galaxy now knew that humans were not simple beings of peace. They were complex, powerful, and unpredictable. In the quiet moments between negotiations and meetings, many species talked among themselves. They wondered what it truly meant to live beside humans. On the planet Solara, children of different species played together. They learned human games and songs and laughed without fear. To them, humans were friends, but on the military base of Korvax, soldiers studied human tactics carefully. They prepared for any future conflict just in case. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Kindness could hide power, and power could be kind. Captain Mira often thought about the journey her people had taken. From a small planet filled with struggles, humans had risen to join the stars. They had shown the galaxy that being gentle was not weakness, and being strong did not mean cruelty. "We are a balance," she told her crew, "a race built by hope and survival. The galaxy must see that this balance is our greatest strength." The humans continued to help worlds rebuild after conflicts and disasters. They brought food to starving planets and medicine to the sick. Their artists and storytellers shared tales of Earth and the stars, inspiring hope in all. But if danger came again, the humans would not hesitate to protect those they cared for. Their gentle masks might come off, but their fierce hearts would always shine through. One day on a distant starship, Captain Mira looked out at the galaxy, a vast sea of light and possibility. She smiled softly. "We are more than monsters wearing gentle masks. We are a new hope, and the galaxy will remember that." The stars twinkled in response, as if the universe itself agreed. The grand hall of the Galactic Academy buzzed with voices from many worlds. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the rows of seats. Some had long tentacles, others had shining scales, and a few had eyes that glowed softly. This was the best academy in the galaxy, a place where the smartest and bravest young beings came to learn. Today was the start of a new class, one that promised to be different from all others. In the front of the hall stood Professor Zelnar, a tall alien with deep purple skin and bright yellow eyes. He looked at the crowd and smiled. "Welcome to Survival Tactics 101, he said. "This class will teach you how to survive in the toughest places in the galaxy. Some of you may think this is easy, but I promise you it is not." The students murmured among themselves. Many had come from peaceful worlds where danger was rare. Others had some experience with hard places, but none had faced what some called the Deathworlds, planets so dangerous that only the strongest could live there. These Deathworlders were few, and many believed they were wild and dangerous. As the class settled down, a quiet noise came from the door at the back of the hall. The chatter slowed and all eyes turned. A figure stepped inside. He was a human. Not just any human, but one who had grown up on a death world. His name was Jax. He looked calm and steady, with sharp eyes that seemed to watch everything carefully. His clothes were simple but worn, like someone who had spent a lot of time outdoors in rough conditions. There was something about him that made the other students hold their breath. The aliens whispered quickly. "That's the human, Deathworlder. They say he killed a wild beast with his bare hands. Do you think he will be dangerous here?" Jax walked to the empty seat near the front and sat down. He did not look around or speak. His calm silence made the room feel even more tense. Professor Zelnar raised a hand for silence. "Class, this is Jax. He joins us from the human homeworld, one of the toughest death worlds known to the galaxy. I expect you to treat him with respect." Remember, survival is not about power alone. It is about skill, courage, and mind. Some students glanced at Jax with fear, others with curiosity. One young alien named Lyra, who had bright blue skin and small wings, leaned over to her friend and whispered, "I heard humans are fearless. But this one, he looks different." Jax heard the whisper but did not react. He had learned to be quiet in strange places. The class began with an introduction to survival skills. Professor Zelnar spoke about harsh climates, strange creatures, and difficult choices. But most students found their attention drifting back to Jax. Why was he so calm? Why did he not talk? After the first hour, a break was called. Students spilled out into the hallways, excitedly sharing stories and guesses about the human. Some were eager to meet him, others wanted to avoid him. The rumor of the human killer had spread quickly. Lyra, curious and brave, decided to approach him. She found Jax sitting alone on a bench near the window looking out at the stars. The quiet light from the stars matched his calm expression. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Lyra. I wanted to say welcome." Jax looked at her and nodded. "Thank you." "Everyone says you're scary," Lyra said honestly. "But you don't seem that way." Jax smiled slightly. "I am not here to scare anyone." Lyra relaxed. "What was it like on your planet?" Jax's eyes darkened for a moment. "It was hard, very hard. Every day was a fight to live. But I learned a lot." Lyra sat down beside him. "Do you think you'll teach us to survive like you?" Jax looked back at the stars. "I will teach what I know. Survival is not just about fighting. It is about seeing what others miss." Their talk was interrupted by the return to class. As the students filed back into the hall, many glanced at Jax with new respect. Professor Zelnar began the next lesson: teamwork in dangerous situations. He explained that no one could survive alone in the worst places. Survival was about trust and cooperation. Jax listened carefully but did not say much. The other students watched him closely, waiting to see what he would do next. Suddenly, the doors opened again and a small group of younger students entered. They looked nervous and one of them tripped on the floor. The room filled with quiet laughter. Jax stood up and helped the younger students steady themselves. His voice was calm and firm. "You will learn to be strong. But remember, strength comes from helping others." The class grew silent. No one expected the human to say such kind words. Professor Zelnar nodded. "Well said, Jax. That is the heart of survival." The rest of the day passed quickly. Students practiced basic skills and shared stories from their homeworlds. Jax listened more than he spoke, but when he did speak, his words carried weight. At the end of the day, the students left the hall with many questions and new thoughts. The human Deathworlder was no longer just a scary story. He was someone to watch, and maybe someone to learn from. Outside the academy, the stars twinkled brightly. Somewhere out there, on a distant and dangerous planet, Jax had survived storms, wild beasts, and challenges no one else could imagine. Now in this new place filled with strange creatures and new dangers, he was ready to face whatever came next. The academy had just begun to see the true meaning of the word survivor. The next morning, the Galactic Academy was alive with energy. The students gathered in the large training field, surrounded by tall towers and strange machines. Today, Professor Zelnar promised they would face their first real test. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows on the ground. The training field was designed to be a challenge, a place where only the strongest and smartest could succeed. It was filled with obstacles, walls to climb, narrow paths over deep pits, confusing mazes, and simulated dangers like harsh weather and wild creatures. The students lined up, stretching and preparing their gear. Among them, Jax stood calm and focused. He looked around at the alien faces, some bright with excitement, others pale with worry. Professor Zelnar raised his voice. "Today, you will take the survival obstacle course. It will test your strength, your mind, and your ability to adapt. Many who try will fail. But remember, survival is about more than just power. It is about thinking and working together." The crowd nodded and the first group stepped forward. When it was Jax's turn, he stepped onto the course with quiet confidence. The other students watched closely. They had heard stories about human Deathworlders before, but no one had seen one in action. The first obstacle was a tall wall covered with sharp stones. Some aliens struggled to find handholds, their bodies not built for climbing. Jax looked carefully, then jumped up and grabbed a sturdy branch sticking out. His hands, tough from years of climbing rocky cliffs, found good grips quickly. In a few strong moves, he was over the wall. "Impressive," whispered Lyra, watching from the sidelines. Next came the narrow path over a deep pit. It was just wide enough for one person, with loose stones that slipped underfoot. Many aliens carefully crept across, afraid of falling. Jax's step was steady. He did not rush or hesitate. His feet moved like he had done this 1,000 times. The other students stared, amazed at how calm and balanced he was, but the hardest part was still ahead. The maze. Inside the maze, walls shifted and changed, creating new paths and dead ends. Strange noises echoed, and simulated weather made it harder to hear or see clearly. The students had to find their way out as fast as possible. Many got lost, wandering in circles. Some grew frustrated and gave up. Jax closed his eyes for a moment. He breathed deeply and listened to the sounds around him. The faint hum of machines, the rush of simulated wind, the movement of distant creatures. Then he began to move. Instead of rushing, Jax took slow, careful steps. He noticed patterns in the sounds and changes in the air. When the walls shifted, he adjusted quickly. Minutes later, Jax emerged from the maze, surprising everyone by finishing first. The crowd burst into applause. Professor Zelnar smiled. "Well done, Jax. You show the true meaning of survival. Patience, observation, and control." But the test was not over. The final challenge was a simulated encounter with a wild creature. Students had to capture a robotic beast without harming it, using only skill and teamwork. Jax joined a team with Lyra and 2 other students, Trell, a tall alien with 4 arms, and Sira, a small creature with sharp eyes. The robotic beast was fast and clever. It hid in bushes, climbed trees, and tried to outsmart the students. Many teams failed quickly. They argued and tried to catch the beast alone, but it escaped every time. Jax studied the beast's movements. He spoke calmly to his team. "We must watch each other and work as one. If we separate, the beast will escape. But if we move together, we can trap it." Lyra nodded. "How do we do that?" "Cover all paths," Jax said. "Use your strengths." "Trell, your arms can block 2 paths at once. Sira, your eyes can spot where it hides. I will move slowly and watch for traps." The team moved carefully. Trell blocked narrow paths with his arms, making it hard for the beast to pass. Sira's sharp eyes caught every movement in the bushes. Jax stayed calm, guiding the team and predicting the beast's moves. After a long chase, the team finally cornered the robotic beast near a river. Jax stepped forward. "Now we don't harm it. We only hold it steady." Together, they gently surrounded the beast, using ropes to tie it without hurting it. The crowd cheered. Professor Zelnar nodded proudly. "Excellent teamwork and respect for life. This is what true survival means." The students looked at Jax with new admiration. The human Deathworlder was not just a killer or a wild warrior. He was a thinker, a leader, and a teacher. That evening, in the dormitory, students gathered to talk about the day. Some approached Jax, asking questions about his world and how he learned to survive. Jax answered patiently, "On my planet, danger is everywhere. But fighting alone is not enough. You must know when to run, when to hide, and when to work with others." Lyra smiled. "You taught us more than skills today. You taught us how to trust." Jax looked around the room. For the first time, he felt less like an outsider. Before sleep, Jax stared out the window at the stars. He thought about the challenges ahead. The academy was tough, but he was ready. On his death world, he had faced storms, beasts, and loneliness. Here he would face new tests of mind, of heart, and of spirit. He knew one thing for sure. Survival was not just about strength. It was about learning, growing, and helping others. And with that thought, Jax closed his eyes, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The days passed quickly at the Galactic Academy. The students grew stronger, sharper, and more confident with each lesson. Yet tensions between the different species began to show. Many students still whispered about Jax, the human Deathworlder, both fascinated and fearful of him. Some admired his skills, while others doubted if someone from such a harsh world could truly fit in here. One morning, Professor Zelnar gathered the class for a special exercise. "Today you will face a challenge unlike any before," he announced. "It will test your survival skills and your ability to trust one another." The students listened closely as the professor explained the situation. "You will be divided into teams. Each team must work together to rescue a missing member trapped in a simulated disaster zone. The area is dangerous, filled with unstable ground, poisonous gas clouds, and mechanical hazards. You must use all your skills and work as one to bring your teammate back safely." A murmur ran through the room. Many students exchanged worried looks. This was no ordinary test. It was a test of cooperation and leadership. Jax's team was quickly formed. Alongside him were Lyra, Trell, and Sira, the same team from the obstacle course. The missing member to be rescued was another student named Vex, a quiet and skilled alien with metallic skin. As the team prepared to enter the disaster zone, nerves ran high. "Remember," Jax said calmly, "we survive by helping each other. No one is alone." The team stepped through the gate into a large simulation chamber. The room was dark and filled with smoke. The ground rumbled beneath their feet and the air was thick with tension. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the chamber. A part of the ceiling had collapsed, blocking the way back. "We're trapped," Lyra said, her wings fluttering nervously. "How do we find Vex?" Jax took a deep breath. "We split into 2 groups. Trell and I will search to the left. Lyra and Sira, you take the right. Keep your radios open." The 2 groups moved carefully, stepping over broken debris and avoiding sharp metal edges. The poisonous gas clouds moved slowly across the floor, forcing the students to hold their breath or use their masks. Jax moved with quiet confidence. His experience on the Deathworld had taught him to stay calm in danger. He looked for signs, footprints, broken branches, or anything out of place. Suddenly, a faint sound came from behind a pile of rubble. "Vex!" Jax called out softly. A weak voice answered. "Here, trapped." Jax rushed over and found Vex pinned under a heavy beam. The metal skin was cracked and Vex looked exhausted. "We'll get you out," Jax said, pulling at the beam with all his strength. With Trell's help, they lifted it just enough to free Vex. The rescue was not over yet. The team had to return through the dangerous zone. As they moved back, the ground shook violently. The simulated disaster was growing worse. Lyra's group called out. "We found a blocked passage." "We can't get through," Jax thought quickly. "Sira, can you find another way?" Sira's sharp eyes scanned the dark area. "There's a ventilation shaft nearby. Small, but we might fit." Jax nodded. "Good. Vex and Trell, follow me. Lyra and Sira, cover the back." The team squeezed through the narrow shaft, careful not to make noise. The path was tight and uncomfortable, but they moved steadily. Suddenly, the shaft shook and loose debris fell. "Stay close," Jax warned. At the end of the shaft, they emerged into a large room filled with strange machines and blinking lights. Vex gasped. "I don't know this place. It's like a control center." Jax studied the area. There might be a way to open the blocked passage from here. He approached a console and began to work the controls. The other students watched nervously. Minutes passed. Then a loud sound came. The blocked passage slowly opened. "Let's move," Jax said. As the team hurried back to the entrance, a new challenge appeared. A deep chasm blocked their way. Trell frowned. "How do we get across?" Jax looked around. Nearby, a damaged cable stretched across the chasm. "We can use this cable to cross," Jax said. "It will be risky, but we have no choice." Lyra's wings twitched. "I'm scared," Jax smiled gently. "Fear is natural, but courage is moving forward even when you are scared." One by one, the team crossed the cable. Jax went last, steady and sure. When everyone was safe, the team finally exited the disaster zone. Professor Zelnar was waiting outside. He smiled warmly. "Well done. You showed true teamwork and courage." The students looked at each other differently now. The walls between them had started to break down. Later, back in the dormitory, the team sat together, sharing their thoughts. Lyra turned to Jax. "I didn't believe a human could be so calm in danger. You taught me to trust and to lead." Jax shook his head. "I didn't do it alone. You all helped," Sira nodded. "We learned that survival is not about being the strongest, but about helping each other." Trell added, "I never thought I would respect a human so much." "You are more than your stories." Jax smiled, feeling a warmth he had not known before. For the first time, he felt like part of a team. That night, Jax sat by the window looking at the stars. He thought about the lesson he had learned today. Survival was more than skills. It was about trust, friendship, and hope. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But together they were ready. The calm of the Galactic Academy was broken one afternoon when alarms echoed through the halls. Red lights flashed and the normally busy corridors emptied quickly as students and staff hurried to safe zones. No one knew the cause at first, but the tension was clear. Something dangerous had entered the station. Professor Zelnar gathered his class in the training hall. His purple skin was paler than usual, and his yellow eyes shone with concern. "A creature from one of the death worlds has been detected on the station," he announced. "It is dangerous and must be captured or contained immediately." Whispers spread through the room. Some students exchanged nervous glances. The creature was from the same kind of world as Jax's home, and many wondered if the human Deathworlder could help. Jax listened quietly. He had seen many dangerous beasts on his planet, but this was different. It was inside a place that was supposed to be safe. Professor Zelnar continued, "The creature is fast, intelligent, and very hard to track. We need a team to find it before anyone is hurt. Jax, I would like you to lead this mission." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Jax. He stood steady and calm. "I will do my best." The team assembled quickly. Along with Jax were Lyra, Trell, and Sira, the team that had worked so well together before. This time, however, the stakes were much higher. The group set off into the labyrinth of the Academy's lower decks, where the creature had last been seen. The air was cooler here, and the walls echoed with the soft hum of machines. Jax took the lead, moving with quiet confidence. "The creature will use the shadows," he said. "We must watch carefully and move as one." They followed signs of movement, broken wires, disturbed dust, and strange noises. The creature was clever, leaving few clues behind. Suddenly, a sharp hiss cut through the air. The team froze. From the shadows, a large shape moved quickly, sleek with glowing eyes and sharp claws. The creature was a predator native to Jax's death world, but it looked more dangerous than anything the team had faced before. Lyra gasped. "It's here!" Jax held up a hand. "Stay calm. We can't fight blindly." The creature darted between corridors, testing the team. It was fast and unpredictable. Jax signaled for the team to spread out, carefully blocking escape routes. "We must trap it, not attack it." Trell positioned himself near a narrow passage, using his forearms to block the way. Sira climbed above, keeping watch from vents and corners. Lyra flew low, ready to act if the creature tried to fly or jump. Jax moved slowly, observing the creature's behavior. He remembered lessons from his home, the importance of patience and understanding the enemy. After minutes of careful tracking, the team spotted the creature near an emergency exit. It was cornered. "Now," Jax whispered. The team moved together, closing in without loud noises or sudden moves. Jax spoke softly. "We don't want to hurt it. Just hold it until we can safely remove it." Using nets and ropes designed for capturing dangerous creatures, the team worked quickly. The creature struggled but could not escape. Jax stepped forward. "Easy now. We are not your enemies." The creature's glowing eyes softened slightly, sensing the calm strength of the human. With teamwork and patience, the creature was secured. Back at the Academy's medical bay, specialists prepared to care for the beast. Professor Zelnar praised the team. "You showed the highest level of skill and respect. You honored the life of a creature from a death world, without violence." The students looked at Jax with even greater respect. Later, in a quiet moment, Lyra asked, "Jax, how do you stay so calm in these moments?" "Many would panic," Jax thought for a moment. "On my planet, I face dangers every day. I learned that fear is natural, but it must not control you. To survive, you must understand your enemy and yourself." Sira smiled. "You taught us more than survival skills. You taught us respect and courage," Trell nodded, "and how to work as one team." Jax looked around at his friends, feeling a deep sense of belonging. "Together, we are stronger than any threat." That night, as the stars twinkled beyond the Academy's windows, Jax knew the true test was not just surviving the dangers outside, but building trust and friendship inside. The Academy was no longer just a place of learning. It was becoming a home,